You can drive from the top of England to the bottom in like 6 hours. He's asking me to get into a car, drive 4 hours to speak. I'm like, I can't do it. But he convinced me. It was the worst talk ever that I've ever done. It was pitch black, terrible. I was embarrassed.
From the streets of Manchester to helping thousands reclaim their lives, today's guest went from rock bottom to world-renowned recovery expert. And trust me, his story is going to change the way you think about addiction. Welcome back to The Root of All Success. I am the real Jason Duncan, and today is episode number 320, and my guest is Dr. Rob Kelly, known by many as the Addiction Doctor. He's appeared on major shows like The Doctors, Good Morning Texas, and countless radio programs. He's also the CEO of Rob Kelly Recovery Group, an organization dedicated to treating causes, not just the symptoms of addiction. But this isn't just theory. Rob's work is grounded in decades of research, neuroscience, and hard-earned lessons of his own recovery journey from crippling alcoholism and homelessness. And today we're going to talk about the turning points in his life, his no-nonsense approach to recovery, and what he's learned about success after starting over from nothing. Rob, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jason. Great to be here. This is going to be awesome, guys.
Yeah, we're going to have a good time. So you have been called by some as the Gordon Ramsay of the addiction world. So what does that mean to you, and how does that play out in your work with your clients?
So Gordon's a friend of mine. That's where that come from. Yeah, it's a no-nonsense approach. We used to specialize in alcohol and drugs, but now we specialize in any mental health, entrepreneurs, stuff like that, where we take them to the next level. It's changing the patterns is what it is. And by doing that, we have an aggressive program. If I have to tell you to, not sure whether I can curse on air, get out my office in a certain way, I will. We drop people, we fire people. Now, I only work with movie stars and musicians and the government and stuff like that right now, but I don't care who you are. If you're not going to follow direction, we have a 98% success rate with over 11,000 patients. If you're not going to do as you're told, get out the office. I don't care how much you've paid. You're either in or you're out. And to be honest with you, I don't give a shit which one it is. If you're in, you're my deal. If you're out, stop wasting my time, man. Go drink or something. You're just wasting your time here.
Yeah. Well, before psychology and recovery coaching and media appearances, you were a session musician at Abbey Road Studios. So how did that chapter shape the person that you are today?
Well, I was born with a guitar on my head. My parents told me. So at the age of, 2, 3, I got my first guitar. At the age of 9, I was on stage with my auntie and uncle, our music family, earning a living. I don't know what, probably $3 back in the day. I don't know. So music's always been in the family, and me as well. I find out I'm a shy kid. So when I step behind a guitar, I'm a different person. So I started, playing in bands. And then one day somebody asked me to do some session work. And I'm like, what's session work? And he went on to tell me, you jump in, you get sheet music, you play. So my first session work was at Strawberry Studios, which is owned by 10cc back in Stockport, England. And then I got an interview audition for Abbey Road. Now, as you can tell if you Google me, I'm an all or nothing guy. I don't run businesses. I run empires. So I set my mind on getting that job, and I got it. And I played with Bowie, Queen, Elton John, all them greats of the 80s. I was there sessioning with them, and I was drinking a lot. I was taking a lot of cocaine at the time. But yeah, I mean, it's all about the mindset for me if you're going to do something. So that kind of, when I came out of that, they fired me for being drunk and wasted, by the way, in the freaking music industry. How does that work?
You must have been really drunk.
Right. That's what he said. It's like when you're falling asleep on the couch and you can't do your work, maybe they got a point. So yeah, music's still in my life. I love music therapy now as I teach others. But yeah, it was a great time.
Well, what was the moment when you realized that your personal battle with alcoholism had crossed the line from a private struggle to something that was destroying your life?
Crazy thing is I started drinking at 9. I went through college. I went through stuff like that. Grew up on the projects, very poor. And it was just continue drinking. When I stabbed my wife 3 times one night because she wouldn't let me finish my bottle of vodka, I still didn't have a problem. I fled to Spain because of the attempted murder charge out on me. I didn't think I had a problem. When I came back home, they took my children off me. And the last thing my daughter said to me was, Daddy, Daddy, please stop drinking. I didn't think I had a problem. I was on the streets for 14 months before one night I dropped down to my hands and knees. This is having died twice on the streets. I dropped down to my hands and knees. It's pouring with rain in the middle of nowhere. And for whatever reason, I looked up to the sky and I said, if there's a God up there, I can't do this on my own anymore. That's what changed. A guy called Derek stumbled upon me, missed his last bus home from Bible study, came upon me, took me back to his house, and that's where my life started.
Wow. So what is your relationship with God now?
Well, he took me to a meeting the next day. I met a guy called John. Uh, John was amazing. I went around to his house every Wednesday for 12 weeks while he taught me stuff about God, stuff like that. And on the last Wednesday there, he said to me that your life's going to change tomorrow and God's, got a plan for you. He's going to take you to America and stuff like that. And I said, John, I live in Derek's basement. Nobody knows I'm there. I don't think my life's going to change from tomorrow. But it did. Okay. So I get this job from Derek and, I get my first pay packet. So I'm heading back to John's to tell him, oh my God, everything you told me has come true. This is unbelievable. But when I get there, there's no answer at the door and the curtains look a bit grayer and stuff like that. And I knocked on the door that hard that the next door neighbor came out and she said, can I help you? And I said, yeah, where's John relocated to? And she said, John who? And I said, the neighbor, what's wrong with it? Oh, I'm on nights. I don't really see people. Went to the next door, knocked on his. Big guy comes to the door. What do you want? Where's John moved to? Where's he relocated to? John who? I said, John, your neighbor. He went on to tell me that apartment was derelict. And it used to have orange tape on it. And if I was to walk through that door, I'd fall 3 stories down and probably kill myself. I think these guys are crazy. So I go back to the meeting the next day where I met John a couple of months ago. And the chairman went, oh my God, Rob. I'm like, thank God for that. Somebody recognizes me, And I said, does John still come in? And he said, John who? And I said, I'm over near the coffee machine speaking to him about him, not being a sponsor, but being my spiritual advisor. And he said, oh my God, Rob, we thought you'd found God. You was talking to yourself. We've never found that man.
Wow.
When I got wealthy, I put the best private detective agency in Manchester on, could never find that man. So he's an angel. Took me 20 years to realize and 22 years to tell anybody. But everything he told me is true. We have a healing power here. We create champions. We have software that no one's heard of. We have techniques that are 20 years before its time. So yeah, I have a strong relationship with God. Now, do I go to church or read the Bible? No. I have a spiritual God. I call him God and Jesus. He protects me. Everything I touch turns to gold as long as I keep working with his kids. That's the deal. So we have 5 offices around the world and, 25% of our work is pro bono. So that's giving to God saying, hey, thank you for all of this. And here's where we do. We're very big on veterans. We don't charge for veterans when they come here, stuff like that. So pretty tight, I would say.
That's a great story, Rob. And I that reminds me, there's a book, a novel written by a friend of mine. And the book is called So You Don't Want to Go to Church Anymore. That's the name of the book. And it's a story about a man who meets somebody named John that ends up not like, he kind of reveals to him who God really is. And then he ends up not being like, he can't figure out who this guy is or where he went. So maybe something you ought to take a look at. It is very interesting. I've read that book was written 15 plus 20 years ago. I don't know, a long time ago. And you telling that story is bringing it all back to memory. So, your slogan is the problem is not our drinking, it's our thinking. So can you walk us through what that means on a neurological level?
Yeah, so I'm outside a liquor store. I think I'm homeless. I can't remember. It's 5:30 in the morning. I have a vest, pair of shorts, flip-flops on. It's snowing and I'm sweating profusely, which basically means if I don't get alcohol or hospital, I'm probably going to die. This shopkeeper opens the door quietly. He knows me, lets me in, closes the door again. For whatever reason, Jason, this morning, I can't even speak. And I put my £10 on the counter. He puts the bottle on the counter, and this was my reaction. Sweating stopped, shaking stopped, headache went, and now I'm in a great mood. I looked at the bottle, looked back at him, back at the bottle, and I went, shit, it's not about the alcohol. So that's where that come from. It's like alcoholism, or alcohol has 1% to do with alcoholism, and the same with any other addiction, no matter what it is. So it's not the substance or the pie or the food or the cake or the porn. It's what's going on in here. I have three parts of my brain that differ from any other human being, and that is us alcoholics. Alcoholics are born, drug addicts are made. So we knew we were onto something, and our research kind of was based around that I'm not having that I couldn't stop drinking when people were telling me. When they took my babies off me at ages 1 and 3, I'm not having that I just can't stop drinking. There's got to be something else to it. And the more we got into the neuroscience and epigenetics, we find out that we can reprogram brains, repattern neural pathways, fix the basal ganglia and the amygdala. They're the big players here, and create a new life.
Wow. Your recovery DVDs are in prisons and treatment centers across the country. So was that always part of your vision, or did it grow out of opportunity?
So I came here for 2 weeks only, Dallas, Texas, to work with a church on their youth ministry, big crack cocaine problem in Plano, Texas. And the minute I got off the plane at DFW, I knew I was never going to go back home. But I could only stay for 3 months. Now, during that 3 months, somebody asked me to speak at an AA meeting in Austin, and I'm in Dallas. And I'm like, you can drive from the top of England to the bottom in like 6 hours. He's asking me to get into a car, drive 4 hours to speak. I'm like, I can't do it. But he convinced me. It was the worst talk ever that I've ever done. It was pitch black, terrible. I was embarrassed. And when I did finish, the guy came up to me and he said, hey, my name's John. I'm from FMS Productions. We provide treatment centers with famous doctors doing DVDs. So I said, oh, God. He said, would you like to do one? We'd love to record you. So I did. We spent a weekend in Austin. I was paid as an actor. Now I have like $20 in the bank. I'm staying with this girl from the church. And he said to me, me and my friend was there, John, and he said, okay, so we're going to pay you. I thought he said $1,000 or something. I said something crazy. I was like, what? He said, would you be interested? So I said, yeah. And he said, no time like the present. Let's draw the contracts up. When him and his attorney, and when they slid the contract over to me, it was for $100,000. And that's what started. So it was all what some people will call freak accident. But my life's been full of that, Jason, from when I came off the street. Like things don't happen by mistake. When you go back after, I'm 64 now, you go back in time and you realize that everything was placed for you because this was right. When this is not right, we can't see opportunities around us. And that's where we fail in business, is we attract what we think we are worth, not what we are worth.
You've participated in Harvard Medical School research on the stigma of mental illness, and there is a lot of stigma around mental illness. So how do those findings shape the way that you coach clients today?
It's not who you are or what you are and stuff like that. I remember an occasion, and I can say this name, is I picking Eddie Van Halen up from the airport, and he came over, and I didn't know what he looked like. I'm from England, I don't know who he is. I've heard of the band Van Halen. And he walks up to me and he said, hey, you Dr. Rob? And I went, yeah. He said, I'm Eddie. I went, oh, brilliant. Nice to meet you. And he said, shouldn't this be the other way around? And I said, I don't know what you mean. He said, you should be recognizing me. And then that's where the speech came out of, you can either get back on your plane and cough back to wherever you come from. Your money's already been paid. You don't get a refund, or you can follow me. I don't care. And I left. So when you've got the backing of the neuroscience and you know you're doing something right, and you know that you can literally change the mind and the brain, mind over matter, when you can literally change everything about that, it gives you the confidence to be as cocky, some people say, and aggressive, some people say, as I am today. So when we meet people like this, we have the backing. I have an award here from Harvard with the best psychologist pertaining to addiction. I have several awards. So yeah, with that backing and that knowledge and that names behind me, like there have been, I know I'm right. And I hate saying that, guys, but we're the only company in the world that if you relapse when you leave us, or you don't create the empire that we planned you for, I'll refund your money. And people are like, what? It's like, we have something. And my days of crawling, when I first come over here, they stripped me of my license, said I was hurting people. I lecture to those guys today. When you know and your mind is right and you can think clearly, nothing's going to stop you because everything makes sense with the knowledge that we have today.
We'll get back to Rob's story in just a second, but first, let's thank our sponsor for today's episode, Dub. If you're still sending the same old email blasts and hoping they're going to magically turn into business, you are wasting time. Dub is your video communication platform that lets you connect with prospects, connect with clients, connect with partners in a way that actually moves the needle. What's cool about Dub is you can record and send personalized videos right from your phone or your desktop, and that you can track the views, you can track the clicks, you can track the responses. I've been using Dub myself, I think, since 2018. Huge fan, big advocate. And when they said they wanted to sponsor the podcast, I was elated because I was such a big fan of theirs. Dub is a game changer. It's like having a 24/7 sales assistant who makes every outreach personable, makes every outreach measurable. So if you want to start building real relationships instead of just cold contacts, check it out at therealjasonduncan.com/dub. That's spelled D-U-B-B. You get 50% off your first 2 months and you get a free trial. That's therealjasonduncan.com/dub. Now back to the show. Rob, you've said that trauma is often the real root of addiction. So how do you uncover and address it in someone who swears they don't have any trauma?
Yeah, we get that all the time. So trauma is the gateway drug, childhood trauma. And again, it affects everybody, and everybody has childhood trauma. So if your life's not going amazing, if you can't keep that job, get that girl, whatever it is, you're not happy, it's right back to childhood trauma, but not the childhood trauma that we used to know, like a plane crash or a car accident. It goes way deeper than that. And with alcoholics and addicts, we're more sensitive. So we hear things different pertaining to that. So we go back, we have tools like 9-dimensional work. We have stuff like NLP, we have somatic experience, we have brain spotting. So we're pulling, the subconscious brain wakes us up. This is the bad guy. Wakes us up every morning because lack of oxygen, loves hypoxic situations. Once we get rid of that guy for the day, the conscious brain in, we're on a winner. This guy here is all stored in the subconscious brain. So you don't know that you're doing it. The definition of insanity with us is you not being able to see your own truth. That's the deal. So we can't see our own truth, and we just think this is how it's going to go, and I can never build empires. No, it's not true. So with these tools, we go back and we uncover, discover, discard of that trauma, as small or as big as it may be. The subconscious brain's part job is to hide this stuff away so it doesn't make you go insane. So it protects us of all these trapped memories. But it's also very good in situations of decision making when the prefrontal cortex says, hey, give me a decision. Most of the time it'll go to the subconscious brain. So the prefrontal cortex has done its job. It gets an answer in milliseconds. It just doesn't have to be the correct answer. So unless this is cleared up, you will never live the life you want to live. There'll always be something of misery and depression and addiction and, self-harm or whatever it is. You've got to clear this up. Most of the entrepreneurs out there we've worked with, every movie star we've worked with, all them guys have gone from here to there because we've sorted this out and rewired this.
You're not just a recovery expert, you're actually an entrepreneur, right? So what's been the biggest challenge, business challenge, in running the Rob Kelly Recovery Group?
So I have 4 businesses, and my mindset when I'm teaching people is you can do anything you want to do. Anything you want to. Can you imagine getting to 80, guys, looking back to your 40s and realize there wasn't anybody watching really, and you could have done anything you wanted to do? Can you imagine that? So Rob Kelly Recovery Group kind of works itself. I have 5 offices around the world. I have staff that manage all that stuff. I have staff here, and I'm the concierge doctor that works with the rich and famous. And that's how that goes. But next door. So remember when I said you can do anything you want to do once this is clear and it's programmed right. I decided to open a British restaurant next door to my offices. And it sells British food, there's British waitstaff, everything's British, not made up or bought from HEB or made a burger with a flag in it and call it the London burger. Everything's shipped in from England, and it is one of the highest grossing restaurants in San Antonio and beyond. I've got another company that's conferences. I have another security company, high profile security company, from anything from sensors in your driveway to, rooms, safe rooms and stuff like that. So balancing all that is fun for me. It really is, because I don't get under pressure. I have no idea what stress is. Oh, I've had a stressful day. What? What do you mean stressful day? Well, I sent these emails. Stressful day? You want to come with me to Afghanistan? I'll show you a freaking stressful day. What you had is 5 minutes that you were pissed off that you dragged on all day. What's going on? We don't get to be miserable. We don't get to fail constantly. We get to do extraordinary things today. We get to look what we eat. We look at how we train, look at our epigenetics, and realize who the hell you are. Because once you find your identity and you clear up this, where everything's firing cylinders, you become a very dangerous person, believe me, in the nicest possible way. Because I signed an office deal for $1 million. People were losing their heads. The staff were losing their heads. And my friend called me and said, Robert, it's $1 million. What? I said, what the hell can they do to me that I already haven't done to myself? What are they going to do? Take the office of me? You think I care about stuff like that? I don't care about stuff like that. You see, everybody's jealous of what I have. Nobody's jealous how I got here. So do the groundwork and everything else is easy. So I have these 100 million. I don't know what it brings in, but I don't get stressed out that stuff. I just smile and we'll move on. We don't have problems in any of my businesses. We have solutions we've not yet worked out. It's not a problem. Never be negative. Oh, I'm not sure. Stop that stuff. If you come in negative, I will send you home without being paid. You've got to be positive. Baby.
So what do you believe, Rob, is your one key that has unlocked success for you more than anything else?
Belief, man. Belief. When we were kids, back home in England, we used to kick a ball around, football or soccer. And we used to often do this. Billy, what do you want to be? Oh, I want to be a movie star. Jimmy, I want to be an attorney. What about a soccer player? Do you know what happened to them dreams? I'll tell you. They were kicked out of us by family and friends. Don't be too stupid, Robert. You can't go to college like your brother. You're too stupid, is what I got told from my mom. So they kick these ideas out of you. You have to realize how powerful I just built a restaurant. I have no experience in restaurants whatsoever. What? First day was mayhem. But try, believe and try, and make sure that your mindset is right. And you will achieve. And the one higher than that sits at the top over here, it's stop giving a shit what people think about you. No one's coming to the door. We're on our own. No one's knocking at the door with $1 million check. But are you capable of earning $1 million? Well, if you don't, I'll give you $1 million. That's how confident we are. It's that you can't build a business or empire on other people's thoughts and comments. It's like they're not going to say you do a great job. They're not going to say attaboy because they're all jealous. They don't want you to succeed. They're in this mindset. Hang around 9 successful people, you will become the 10th. Hang around 9 depressed people, you will become the 10th. So it's all mindset and identity that we're put on. And you literally can do anything you want to do. And do you know when I came to America, and the first thing Americans used to say to me was, well, I can't be president of the United States. Let's forget political views. 4 or 5 years ago, whatever it was, we had a business and we were in the country with no political experience. Don't dare tell me you can't achieve your dreams. It's not true. Somebody's put that there.
How do you personally define the word success?
Well, success for me is helping. That's all it is. I get up in the morning to help people. I bless everybody monetary when I leave the house. I spend time with people on the way to work, stuff like that. And I'm successful. And the rest will take care of itself. If you're miserable, if you're depressed, you're never going to get to the place you want to be. So if you believe in God, you've got to give it all to him. If you believe in Uncle Jimmy, universe, you've got to give it to them. You can't run this here. You can't be, oh, glory to God when you're taking your first $1 million and in the next couple of months you don't get any work and you want to start worrying. You're either in or you're out. God is or he isn't. You want to be successful or not. The choices are yours. And it can all be programmed from the mind into the neural pathways. So that is success. It's not the money, it's not all that stuff. It's getting up every morning and knowing quite well that we're going to save a life today.
Based on that definition of success, do you consider yourself to be a successful person?
I do. And the crazy thing is, if you asked me the same question 2 years ago, I'd have said no. 4 years ago, my eldest daughter, I've not seen any of my children for 30 years, messaged me on Facebook. And she says, Dad, she called me Dad, Jason. Dad, after 30 years, I've just seen on TV. I want to see you. It's about time. I don't believe what Mum was saying. I've got something to show you. So within 4 hours, we're on a plane back to England. And we get to a door the next day. I'm crying. I can't knock. I'm shaking. I'm sick. I feel. And she opened the door quickly and we hugged each other. What feels like hours to me, but it was probably minutes. She took me by my hand and she led me into a living room and she handed me my 3-month-old granddaughter. From that day onwards, I knew I was a successful man because success looks different to different people. I chase money. I want it because I come from the scrums, because I come from the project. I wanted to prove to you that when I was driving the 911 and living in that big house and wearing expensive Richard Mille watches, that you would like me. And some time ago, when I was doing that on the way to work in Highland Park, we had the medical building, I was miserable and I realized that's not going to bring it. So success to me is having my family back. I have my sister next work from England working in my restaurant, that's happiness and success for me. The rest is just de minimis. The rest pays the bills and keeps my wife happy. That's all it does.
Most of the audience here are entrepreneurs. So what is your best piece of advice for an entrepreneur?
If you're earning $1 million a year, why aren't you doing two? If you're earning $100,000 a year, why aren't you doing $500,000 a year? What's stopping you from doing that? We do have a technique here. It's called 9-dimensional work. It will take you to a different level. Entrepreneurs, we specialize in. You have fixed thinking. You have limited beliefs in what you can accomplish. So you can only take it so far. What happens is you need the neuroscience to take you to the next level. That's what you need. Don't be set with, failures. Don't class them as failures. They're learning opportunities. Well, I got turned down, Rob, for the 4th time. Do you want to go and speak to the Beatles or J.K. Rowling? Do you know how many times she was told to go back to a council estate, bring up your children like a good girl and shut up, you're no good at writing? All these things will be around us. Start calling yourself the best in the world. My business cards on the back of them for the last 11 years, I've had the best addictionologist in the world. Prove me wrong. And we've done tests and trials around this. And all the time it's true what we come up with. If you started treating yourself the best, you're the best person, you're the best plumber in the world, you'll create an empire. And if you don't, it's because you're stuck at that limited beliefs and you need the next level of neuroscience to take you to that $1 million a year.
All right. Are you ready for some rapid fire questions as we get ready to
finish
up?
Let's do it.
All right. What is the book you most often recommend to someone who's in crisis?
Daddy, please stop drinking. No, I'm joking. That's mine. The 4 Agreements.
The 4 Agreements. That's a good one.
Yeah.
What's one habit you refuse to break?
My breath work first thing in the morning, which is 20 exaggerated breaths in and out to activate the conscious brain and get rid of the subconscious brain. Every day it comes first.
When you say first, this is just a curiosity question. I'm going to follow up with this. Tell me how that works. You're out of bed. You've eliminated. You brush your teeth. You've made coffee. Then you do it. Like what do you? When do you do it? When you get up?
So we only breathe 45% lung capacity. All the illnesses, cancers, and everything grow in a hypoxic area of the body. We only breathe 45% of our lung capacity. So get up in the morning and take 20 extortionally exaggerated breaths in and out like this. Want to fill all the body up with oxygen and every cell gets placed. Now the conscious brain is taking part. If you go dizzy, you're doing it right. If you don't, you're not doing it right. Go in the bathroom, stand 6 feet away from the mirror, say, I love you 10 times. Don't get close to the mirror. We see all our blemishes. When's the last time you were in the office? Jimmy, good. No, we don't do that. Step away from the mirror, say the I love yous, no blemishes after 6 feet away, and start brushing your teeth with the opposite hand. A week on the left, week on the right, week on the left, week on the right. Within that month, you'll be a different person. Your DNA would have changed.
Wow. All right. Last rapid fire question here. What's the most surprising thing about recovery that outsiders don't understand?
We have a gift. We're limitless. We don't have an addiction. We have a superpower. That's what we have. When you realize that your past is your greatest asset going forward, and what else can happen to you? We've been through this. Do you think God is going to pull you out of the stormy beach and kick the crap out of you on the beach? No. There's so many things that he wants for us. There's so many opportunities that he throws your way. And the only reason why you're not receiving it is you're not in the same frequency. You're not studying the sunlight of the spirit. The vibration and frequency is off. So he's sending you all these gifts and he's bouncing off you. So be open, be willing, and be a little cocky and aggressive, whatever. Be the guy in the elevator. Good morning, everybody. It's like, oh God, it's that guy. Be that guy today. Do stuff we're not supposed to do today. Be successful.
All right, this is a bonus question I'm going to ask because I'm truly curious based on everything we've talked about today. When someone says, I really like what you're talking about with this idea of being on frequency and thinking about it and how you've got this superpower, is there a book that you recommend more than others that says, if you read this book, it'll give you insight to what all this truly is about?
We don't actually, because it's new, neuroscience is new. So what we've been creating over the last 5 years is just coming to fruition, where we're actually speaking to Robert Kennedy right now about the health side of what we do and changing pathways. But there isn't now for me personally, but there will be in the next 6 months.
All right. Love it. Dr. Rob Kelly, I'm going to give you the opportunity to tell everybody how to get in touch with you, because this has been a cool conversation that I know people are going to want to follow up on. So how would they reach out?
Guys, if you're listening or not watching, I spell my name with 2 B's, ROBBKELLY.com. Jump on the website. There's lots of stuff on there to do, guys. All our programs and businesses are on there. Have fun, friend us. Any search engine, Dr. Rob Kelly, I'll come up, do all that great stuff. And there's a button on the website that says call me. If you press it, you'll come straight through to my cell phone. But don't tell anybody.
Dr. Rob Kelly, thank you so much for being on the show. I love your energy. It's contagious. Congratulations on all your success.
Thank you, man.
All right, you know what time it is. It's time for another edition of JD's Public Service Rants. This is the part of the show where I call out the things that shouldn't have to be said, but clearly they do. So if you're guilty of this one, well, you need to consider yourself officially put on notice. There's a special place in inbox hell for people who hit reply all to say thanks or got it to a group of 50 people. Look, you just made 50 people open an email that didn't need to exist. You're not helping. You're digitally littering. Reply to the sender. Leave the rest of us out of it. And for goodness sake, go to your email settings and change the standard reply to just reply to the person, not to reply all. Leave the rest of us out of it. Well, that's it for today's JD's Public Service Rant. If you got an idea for one of these rants, send it over my way. And remember, don't be that guy. Thank you so much for tuning in today for my conversation with Dr. Rob Kelly. What he's doing is good work. It's God's work. And the story about his interaction with this guy named John, fascinating. I think we all need to take a lesson from that, because God is trying to speak to us in many different ways. If we just look for it, we just listen to it, we could tune into it, and we could tap into our superpower and change the lives of dozens, hundreds, or maybe even millions of people just like Dr. Rob Kelly is. So thank you again, Dr. Rob, for being on the show. Thank you, listener, for listening to the show. Please tune in again next time when I talk with yet another very successful person about his or her journey to success. And until then, as always, I am the real Jason Duncan, and Jesus is King.
Attention business owners. Attention business owners. Feeling burnout from running your business? Uncertain if you're nearing burnout? Take our free 10-question business burnout test at businessburnouttest.com to discover where you stand. With just 10 quick questions, you'll learn how to immediately begin making changes to regain freedom and success. Cut your daily operations time in half. Improve your quality of life and prepare your business for your future exit without losing revenue or profit. Visit businessburnouttest.com now and take the test. Thank you for listening to another edition of The Root of All Success with the real Jason Duncan. If you've enjoyed this week's episode, visit therootofallsuccess.com to access the show notes and other helpful resources. Follow Jason on social media at The Real Jason Duncan. See you again next time here on The Root of All Success.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.